Hunter saves it. Hunter Hughes is coming around. Here comes Colton Garner. It's Hunter Hughes!
Turn 4 for the final time. Who's got more ponies? Checkered flag out. Bluegrass 150 goes to Ian Miller.
And welcome back to the Daily Driven Podcast, guys. As always, I'm your host, Nick Zammit.
Good, get the name out there. It's like, hey, Joseph Newgarden, you're the guy with the sperm commercial. Yeah.
Good evening, and welcome to race number 4 in Season 5 of FR Racing's Indy Racing World Series, presented by Rogue Energy. My name is Taka Timmerman, and thank you for joining us here tonight, right here from the Granite 150 in New Hampshire Motor Speedway. So you can see you got about 3 minutes left of qualifying, or not qualifying, my apologies, of practice. You can see some of the drivers racing around, getting their practice in. Got about 13 minutes of driving, practice to do before they have their 2 laps of qualifying. And I would like to say thank you for joining us here, right here on Stadium Scene TV. Let's take a look at our Indy Racing World Series schedule. Today is race number 4. You can see we got New Hampshire today. Next week we are off. And the weekend after, not the weekend after, but the week after, we will be in Chicagoland on March 18th. And the week after that, we'll be in Pocono. And then in April 8th, we'll be in Mid-Ohio. Then in Indianapolis. Then Dover after that. And our final race will be at Auto Club. Let's take a look at our standings after 3 of 10 races. We have Ian Miller leading the season so far with 154 points, Maximus Molina at 104, and Matthew Faust at 94 points. Got a close points between 3rd, 4th, and 5th place, it looks like. And if you want to include 6th and 7th place, they're pretty close as well. With Faust only leading Richardson by 2 points, and Richardson leading Molfeld by 3 points as well. And we kind of break open the gap a little bit to 7 points between Molfeld and Booker. And then finally we got 4 points between Fluck and Booker. And then we have in 8th place Lucas Puntarelli. 9th place Mark Fish. Tied at 9th is Greg Hammond. And in 10th place we have Bill Cawley II. Got about another minute left of practice before the drivers get ready to do their qualifying runs. This race is presented by Rogue Energy. Rogue Energy focuses on 4 product lines: Hydration, Energy, Shake, and Extreme, which is the pre-workout line. They are a gaming company at heart and offer high-quality products as an alternative to traditional sugary energy drinks. Check out their product line, and don't forget to use our promo code FRRacingOnline. Save 10% using our promo code. Let's take a look at a couple things to look out for tonight's race. We got the Granite 130, what to watch out for. Laps, we got 130 laps tonight. The fuel window is looking between laps 63 and 68. So we're looking at about 1 stop if running all green. As I said earlier, qualifying is about 2 laps. We do have cautions set up in tonight's race. And during those cautions, we will have a lucky dog for whoever that lucky dog is. Sorry. Not sorry. I'm openly going to do it. And we got one green flag, one white flag, and one checkered flag in tonight's race. The previous winner was Tyler Lugo Vickery from Season 1. And I will get into some race notes that we have here for New Hampshire. And as the drivers have about 5 minutes to do 2 qualifying laps, we'll wait. And while we wait for that, let's take a look at some race notes I have over here. So this is the first time that Indy Racing World Series is back since Season 1. Last year, we did put it on the schedule, but we did end up having to take it off of the schedule as it was missing the fixed setup for the vehicles, as this league is a fixed setup league. Turn 4 could be a very troublesome spot with catching the outside wall, so the drivers will have to be extra careful with their brakes or their gas pedal when they go through turn 4. Multiple lines could open up, so it'll be interesting to see what each driver's preferred spot is. So we will take a look from the blimp view and kind of keep an eye out for that. Ian Miller with a large lead in the points. So as we saw earlier, and everyone's still pretty close. It is the 4th race of the season, so anyone could come in for the lead. A bad race could change the championship battle. Drivers could make the race on one stop, but depending on the number of cautions, it could require some strategy when it comes to fuel saving and saving the tires. And if it runs green, as the what to look out for said, the fuel window is between laps 63 and 68 with one, and can race on one stop. There should be a lot of grip on the track, but the weather could change as the race progresses. So we'll see. We'll have to keep an eye out for the surface temperature of the track. Oh, unfortunately, I don't really have a way to do that. So the drivers will have to keep an eye out for the air temperature, the track surface temperature as well, and we will see how it turns out for many of these drivers here tonight. I will say I'm happy to be back. Glad to be back in the broadcast booth, to be with you all here tonight. It's been a couple weeks. I was out overseas enjoying a small vacation, and unfortunately it overlapped with Indy Racing World Series. Was supposed to be back last week, but unfortunately had some car issues. But now I'm here, happy to be back, and I hope you all are having a good time and happy to be watching another exciting race on Indy Racing World Series. I haven't really raced too much on this course, so I'm not too familiar with it. But it looks like it's going to be a lot of fast-paced racing here tonight. So we will keep an eye out for all the action that happens on the track from the front to the back. And we will wait for all the drivers to finish their qualifying and see where they end up. It'll be interesting to see if there's any shakeups on the leaderboard after tonight's race, as everyone's super close, even with a big gap. You just never know, especially this early in the season, who can end up in the lead and who can be the season champion at the end of the season. Looks like we're about wrapping up on qualifying, and I believe no one else is driving. So we will, once it's official, we'll upload the grid and go through all the drivers. Again, thank you very much for joining us here on Stadium Scene TV. This is Indy Racing World Series, and this is the Granite 130 race at New Hampshire Motor Speedway. It looks like that is the end of qualifying. So let's go ahead, load up the grid here. And first, leading us off, we have Matthew Faust. Second, we have Derek Booker. Third, Erik Richardson. Fourth, Mark Fish. Fifth, Greg Hammond. Sixth, Ian Miller. And in seventh, DJ Fluck. So that is our grid. That will be our starting, the starting positions for each driver. And let's see, it's, I don't see Mr. Faust anywhere in the driver's chat, so I will get, let's see, looks like Derek's muted. So we'll get Erik Richardson in third place in the broadcast booth real quickly. Hey, Eric, this is the broadcast booth. Do you have a copy?
Hey, how's it going?
Good. Starting off in third. You excited for this race here tonight?
Yeah, it should be a lot of fun. It's going to be lots of turning real quick, but see how it goes.
Sounds good. Any strategy for tonight's race?
Keep it on track.
Sounds good. Well, good luck to you tonight, and hopefully you have a good race.
All right, thank you.
That was Erik Richardson in the number 13 car. He is sitting in third place, driving a nice black Showtime livery. As we come around turn, or in the backstretch, entering turn 3, let's focus on the lead driver, Faust, in the 89 car, the Miller Lite car, as he will start us off tonight's race. And see, start. And there we go, green flag. We are off into the races. Kind of keep it panned out a little bit so we can see the whole race, as we have Faust, Booker, and Richardson taking off from the pack and creating their own pack. In fourth place is Ian Miller, jumped up from sixth place. And we'll have to keep an eye out for which driving line many of these drivers take. As we enter the backstretch, looks like the lead drivers are taking the outside line primarily. Probably more middle than outside. While the backpack, backpack, I guess, the rear pack takes a more of an inside line. And I don't know if that's because they're following fourth place of Ian Miller. Ooh, big accident back in the back. Let's see here. I'll do a quick replay. See, looks like Mark Fish was involved. So we're focused on the number 42 car here. And 42 spins out, hits the wall pretty hard. And I believe a caution is out. Yes, a caution is currently out. And we are on lap 3 of 130 laps here tonight. And while we are under caution, I have this new thing set up for Steam Scene TV trailers. It's kind of interesting. You know, some new experimental things. Maybe not experimental, but some cool new gadgets to mess around with or try on the stream. So, kind of looking forward to using it. Keep an eye out for that later on in the stream. I'll probably use it eventually. But so far, one caution, lap 3. Remember the fuel windows between lap 63 and 68. We'll keep an eye out to see if... and there are no lucky dogs for this one here, since everyone's on the same lap currently. Although we do see DJ Fluck in the pits, so keep an eye out for him. And let's see... I'll have to see where he comes out. But caution number 1 so far. I got about, I think, 1 or 2 more laps until the pace car goes in and we go back to some high-speed racing around New Hampshire. I believe that incident happened on turn 4. Reading over some of the I'm on YouTube. I do have the chats open. Derek Booker was the first to comment here, and Lucas looks like he is unfortunately in the middle of a move. So good luck to the move, and hopefully you can get rid of those boxes quickly, because that's always the pain point in a move. At least for me it was, and moved about a little over a year, 2 years ago now, and I still have boxes. So probably something I should work on sometime soon. Now, not only do I have boxes, but I also have suitcases full of stuff from my trip. So a little bit of a need to get myself situated. But here we go. Green flag racing again on lap 6. As Faust leads us off in the number 89 car. Booker in 2nd. Richardson in 3rd. Miller in 4th. Hammond in 5th. Fluck in 6th. And Fish in 7th. It looks like that turn 4 is very interesting for a lot of these drivers. The incident did happen on turn 2, though. Not sure if the temperature on the track or the tires not coming up to full, not being warm enough yet, were to blame. But it did look like his rear end did slip out. So I have to keep an eye out on both the exits of turn 2 and turn 4. So far, Faust has been leading every lap of this race. Currently on lap 9. Still pretty good. Looking about a half-second gap between Faust and Booker. And then we're looking at a quarter of a second between Booker and Richardson. And another half-second between Richardson and Miller. So gap's not super close, but it's not super far. I think that's just about between the slipstream being there and not really being there. It is the beginning of the race, so we'll see kind of the drivers looking to settle in. The caution definitely didn't help with that, settling in and finding their groove and finding their ideal line. But hopefully as the race goes on, we'll kind of see them settle in on a driving line and start narrowing in on each other and try to take the lead from each other. As we do see the 2nd, 3rd, and 4th place get closer and closer as Faust kind of takes off on the small pack right behind him. And looks like Miller is going to go take the inside line, try to get around Richardson. Is unable to do so. That'll be something to keep an eye out for. I'm sure Faust does enjoy seeing that competition, because it does mean that the pack does slow, is too preoccupied to try to catch up to him. Looks like Richardson takes the middle line while Miller takes the inside line and then goes all the way to the outside, maximizing his momentum and trying to hit the gas pedal quicker. Not sure which one uses more tire grip, because remember, fuel and tire strategy is very essential here tonight's race. in Indy Racing World Series, they do need to pit once to change compounds. So we'll see if that plays a factor in any of these drivers. And it looks like these drivers are getting really close to that wall. Oh, and we see Miller making a move. Richardson on the outside. Looks like he might be able to escape. Oh, close to an incident there. And it looks like Miller's going to go for the overtake here. He's unable to do so. Let's hop on board with him and see what he's seeing here. As we are on board with our chopper. Looks like Miller's going to regroup a little bit before going to try to go in for an overtake and take third place away from Richardson. So now we're following Richardson as he's following behind Booker. We'll go ahead, hop on. Ooh. Heard some contact there. Looks like Miller made a little bit of contact with a wall, potentially. And this is our blimp view. Get a pretty good view of the full track. Not quite the full track, but the back stretch. You can kind of see how close all this pack is getting. As Richardson's closing in on Booker. I think the exit of turn 4 is getting Miller, and Miller's going to try to go for an overtake of both. Oh, so Richardson had to give a little bit of room, slowing him down, giving Miller a great opportunity to overtake and take third place potentially. Richardson on the outside is able to keep the speed and keep his third place position. So it looks like, as of right now, the higher line is a little quicker. Although the inside line does give you that opportunity to overtake for a little bit. If Miller can exit turns 2 and 4. Oh, and Miller spins out. And we are still under green flag conditions. And we will keep an eye out with our race ticker on the side. I believe Miller's probably going to have to pit. That is unfortunate. Looks like his rear tires spun out, and it's just spun him. Luckily, we are able to keep green flag racing going. It looks like Richardson's kind of running a higher line there. Maybe he's testing it out to see if he can catch up to Booker. But he's sitting about 1.2, 1.3 seconds behind him now. I'd be curious to see if there's any marbling on the edge of the track, and if there is, if that's affecting any of these drivers. As we hop on board with Richardson here as he attempts to chase down Booker, who's about 1 second ahead of him now. Yeah, this track isn't banked as much as you can see with the off these drivers' perspective from the cockpit. And ooh, as you can see, it's a very tough to get out of turns 2, and we'll see right here on turn 4. One small mistake and you're going spinning. It looks like there is I don't know if that's lap traffic, who that is, but that is causing wreaking a little bit of havoc. I believe that is the driver Ian Miller, the number 48 car. Lap traffic always creates a little bit of an interesting dynamic to the race leaders. It's always interesting to see if they're willing to let the top of the pack go in front of them, or if they are going to try to race to unlap themselves. And with it, in Ian's situation, I think I would stay out and race to try to unlap myself and catch up to the lead pack. So Miller is currently 2 laps down. Probably had to pit. Let's see here. No, he did not pit. He stayed out. So he had. Looks like the damage on his car is gone. We'll keep an eye out for this between Miller and Richardson. Ooh, as you see Richardson kind of taking a... Oh, spinning out. And he taps his nose. But looks like he will be able to continue, hopefully. And now we are on board tracking Derek Booker as he sits about 2 seconds behind Matthew Faust. So, and let's go ahead and hop on board with the leader here. Looks like he also has a little bit of lap traffic to deal with. And it looks like that is... I believe that's the number 66 driver of Greg Hammond, as Greg Hammond lets him by. Yeah, it looks like this course with the not so steep bank angle is just wreaking havoc on these tires. Especially if you take the Highline, I'm sure it is not easy navigating between the brake pedal and the gas pedal. It looks like Erik Richardson is in the pits. And he will be... I think he got a quick repair done. So he is back to stint. He's currently in 5th place, about 2 laps down. There is a big race for 3rd place, as we'll move it back to the vertical ticker here. So you can see here, this is the gap. We're going to change it to interval. So Miller is currently 2 laps down from the lead pack, but you can see Miller, Fish, Richardson, and Hammond are all on the same lap, and they will be kind of racing it out for the lucky dog position and also the 3rd place position. The lucky dog position being that if there is a caution, they will be able to unlap themselves. And the closest race right now is Booker and Faust, 1st and 2nd place here. And we see there is a little bit of lap traffic in front of him. In front of Hammond. Sorry, in front of Faust, and I believe that is... If I can see the car... Which I cannot yet. I think that might be Mark Fish. Nope, that is not him. It is Greg Hammond, who is, again, in the sights of Faust and Booker. And not too far behind him, I believe, is... I'm not sure who that is in front of him. As we see Booker right behind. Oh, you know what? That's Faust. Faust did overtake Hammond, and now Booker is trying to get around. Looks like Hammond now. Booker is sitting about 1 point... Ooh. What happened there? Not sure what happened. Booker's sitting about 1.5 seconds behind. And it looks like there is a caution out. Let's see if we can figure out what may have happened. Go into the blimp view here. Go about 40 seconds back. Oh, nope, this is not far enough back. And that's under caution. Let's see here. I believe it might have been potentially Richardson. He's currently in the pits. Doesn't look like it was him. Oh, it was. Yeah, he unfortunately spun his rear tires out of the exit of turn 2. Came back spilling out onto the track, and the caution flag was waved around lap 39, it looks like. We'll go back live. And so this is our second caution. Looks like Miller was able to take a lucky dog, as there he is going around and taking his lucky dog. So he will be 1 lap down, separating him from the other pack. So now in the lead lap, we have Matthew Faust, the number 89 car, and Derek Booker in the number 5 car. 1 lap down, we have Ian Miller, who's currently sitting in 3rd place. Now there will be, and then Mark Fish sitting about 2 laps down in the number 42 car. And in 5th place, we have Greg Hammond, the number 66 car, who is sitting about 3 laps down. Yes, Foss is definitely having a drive tonight. He's doing great. Especially with this track and just 2 incidents so far, 42 laps. Definitely changes the race strategy for tonight's race. Let's take a look at our standings as we are entering lap 43 here. As you can see, Ian Miller is currently sitting in 3rd place. Oh, and it looks like green flag racing is back. And Foss leads the way. And Booker is right on his heels there. About 4/10 of a second behind. Both Faust and Booker are on their original tires. Looks like Foss is defending hard, not letting Booker take any opportunity in the front stretch. We'll see if he defends hard on the back stretch. As we can see, Foss trying to evade Booker and not allowing him to take his slipstream. But Booker's right on his tail. It's a close race between these two. Oh, it's pretty close. Almost looks like almost ran into each other there. We'll hop on board with Booker. The cockpit view. Get a first-person view of what this race looks like between these two drivers as they compete for the lead. As Foss tries hard to not give Booker any opportunity to catch any slipstream. Booker looks like he's taking the inside line. If any of the other drivers are to be used as a reference, the inside line seems to be a little bit slower. Although, if you get a good exit out of turn 4 and turn 2, you are able to cut down on that gap, as we saw Booker just do there out of turn 4. And it's a combination of that and having the person in front of you have a bad entry or bad exit. And for a moment there, it looked like Booker did take the lead, but was unfortunately not able to maintain it out of turn 4, which is the downfall, I feel like, of taking the inside line. The outside line does have that speed, can maintain it. I could see some of that marble, the tire marbles showing up on the track, probably meaning that the outside line is going to be very slick. It's going to be like oil to these tires here. So some of these drivers who take the advantage of using the full track will need to keep their eyes out and be careful not to slip on them. Oops, sorry, wrong camera view there. It looks like Foss is breaking away from Booker. Sitting about half a second now. And right behind Booker, it looks like we have Ian Miller looking to try to unlap himself here. If he's able to pass Booker and Foss, he will be able to be back on the lead lap and race for the first place position. Ian Miller is currently on lap 27 of his fuel and tires, while Booker and Foss are on lap 52. They are the only two drivers who have not yet hit the pits to fill up their tank and get fresh tires. Be curious to see if that does change any of these any driving strategies for these two drivers. Looks like all the other drivers took advantage of the cautions and went in for fresh fuel and tires. Looks like Foss is just driving off into the sunset. 0.8 of a second lead now. Foss is maintaining his speed with his laps currently. About every lap he has at least 0.1 of a second lead over Derek Booker. Although Ian Miller with the fresher tires is driving a little faster, you can still see that Foss is just doing an amazing job here. Miller, who's trying hard to get back into the lead lap, is just chasing after these top two drivers here tonight at New Hampshire. We're seeing a pretty good race here. But it also looks like these drivers have done their homework, and I'm sure all the drivers did, and it's just, for me, I could never do that. So lots of kudos to these drivers, but even then, I would, even if I did my homework, I'd be spinning out everywhere. Left, right, turn 1, 2, probably the front stretch as well, and the back stretch, so. We'll have to, after this lap, we'll hop on board with Foss and kind of see what, how he's shifting. Did hear someone tapping the wall in the back. I'm not sure who that was. Didn't really see any speed decreases, so. As we enter the front stretch, we'll hop on board with Matthew. As we enter turn 1, looks like he takes the high line in turn 1 and exits turn 2. Looks like with a pedal to the metal. Enters turn 3 from the outside. Keeps the high line. And exits turn 4. And he just looks pretty darn smooth with it. Although you can hear that marbling on that edge there. He is navigating that gap between the marbling and clear track. So that is something drivers in the high line will have to keep an eye out for. Because if they take too much of that marbling, it's like getting hit with a banana peel in Mario Kart. And I think that's what some of the drivers earlier in this race were affected by. And unfortunately, just enough of their rear gave out and had an unfortunate spin for some of the drivers. Currently on lap 62, we're looking to enter the fuel window, which was between lap 63 and 68. Faust and Booker can potentially make this into a one-lap race. So it will be a race to the checkered flag. And it's going to be a battle of strategies. Will Faust stay out until he's almost out of gas? Or will Booker go in early and play some potential mind tricks and try to get inside of the other driver's head? We have about, if I do some quick maths here, about 66, 67 laps remaining. All these drivers who are currently out will need to go back into the pits to grab fresh fuel. Grab a full tank of fuel and some fresh tires. Got about a second gap between Faust and Booker. Miller's right behind Booker here. Let's give a little bit of some attention to Greg Hammond and Mark Fish here. Looks like they also have a pretty good race going, as Hammond's trying to defend himself from being lapped by Mark Fish. Sitting about an interval of 22 seconds between the two drivers. If Fish gets around Hammond, Hammond will be a lap behind Fish. And looks like Hammond's taking the high line, kind of similar to what Faust is doing. And Fish is trying to take the inside line, kind of similar to what Miller was doing earlier. And looks like Faust is in the pits. He has entered the pits, and Booker is now our race leader. So Faust pits in lap 67, around 67, 68. We will see where Booker decides to pit, if he follows suit. It looks like Booker's going to stay out. Looks like Miller is going to try to take the inside line. Unable to get around Booker. Booker takes the inside line, and I think he's going to... Ooh, got a little squirrely there. And he's going to go into the pits on lap 70. 69, lap 70. So Miller is now in second, while Faust is in third. But I think my I think my timing's a little confused, so we'll see if it resets or not. Oh, you know what? I think it is correct. So Faust is sitting. Miller takes the lead. Booker's still in the pits. Faust is narrowing in. Let's see if he's able to get around Booker before he exits the pits. And there goes Faust, and Booker looks like he was able to get out in front of him. And we do see the drivers of Mark Fish and Greg Hammond in front of Faust here. So now we have 3 drivers in the lead, on the lead lap. Oh, and there is an incident with Ian Miller. We'll go ahead, replay, and see what happened here. Let's see if we can... Ooh, looks like we missed it. Let's see if we can go back a little bit more. So we're on board with Ian Miller. Around lap 71, looks like he was on the wall there. Entering turn 1, exiting turn 2, and it looks like he just spun out. Maybe a little too hard on the gas pedal there. Unfortunately, that does cause a little bit of damage to his car. And hopefully he will not have to... Oh, yeah, it looks like... Oh, and he does hit... It looks like... Mark Fish there. Unfortunately, Mark Fish had to go into the pits, got towed in. Hopefully he's not in there for too long. It looks like Miller is also in the pits. And Greg Hammond will be the driver who gets the lucky dog. So we do have a little bit of a shakeup in our standings. In first place, we have Derek Booker. Second place, we have Matthew Faust. Third place, currently in the pits, is Ian Miller. Greg Hammond is currently doing his lucky dog and will be sitting in third. Let's give him a little bit more time to get around the track. Oh, actually, looks like Ian Miller is back out. So Miller's going to get in front of Hammond. So it will be first Booker, second Faust, third Miller, and fourth Hammond. Fish, who was unfortunately involved in an accident and who wasn't able to quite avoid Miller, is currently in the pits trying to get some repairs in. Looks like we got about another lap or two to go. And on that note,
Hunter saves it. Hunter Hughes is coming around. Here comes Colton Garner. It's Hunter Hughes!
Turn 4 for the final time. Who's got more ponies? Checkered flag out. Bluegrass 150 goes to Ian Miller.
And welcome back to the Daily Dribble Podcast, guys. As always, I'm your host, Nick Zamek.
Good, get the name out there. It's like, hey, Joseph Newgarden, you're the guy with the sperm commercial. Yeah.
and that was our small ad segment. As we get started under the green flag on lap 75. Faust is chasing after Booker. Booker is on fresher tires. We'll see if Faust follows after Booker's slipstream, and it looks like he does, as Booker is doing his best to avoid any sort of slipstream that Faust can take to catch up to him. Miller's about 1.5 seconds behind Faust, and Hammond is one lap behind Miller, who's currently in third place. Currently on lap 77 of 130, right here at the Granite 130 at New Hampshire Motor Speedway. This is Indy Racing World Series, race number 4. I'd like to thank you for joining us here tonight. We're happy to have you. I hope you're enjoying the race here tonight. Got a good race for the lead between Booker and Faust, and Ian Miller hunting and seeing if he can take advantage of any mistakes that these two drivers can potentially have. Oh, and it looks like we had an incident. And the caution is out. Let's see if we can see what happened. Looks like Ian Miller was involved here. And there's Greg Hammond right behind him. They enter, looks like turn 1 into turn 2. And, ooh, that's painful. It looks like his rear end spun out again. And Hammond was unfortunately the end receiver of the tail end of Ian Miller there. About lap 80 for this incident. Our fourth incident of tonight's race. Currently on lap 81 of 130. Yeah, it looks like those exits on those turns are very tricky. And if there's any damage on any of these cars, it's just a potential recipe for disaster. If the frame's warped, you can't get that downforce from the wing and apply it to all four tires, even though it's probably just the right tires here tonight. Left tires are kind of just there, I feel like, in these corners. Obviously supporting the weight of the car, but not too much else other than that. I feel like the right tires are taking all the beating here. So we are down to Booker and Faust on the track. Lap 82 of 130. Both drivers sitting with relatively fresh tires. Booker with 12 laps on his tires and Faust with 14. Faust led most of the race up until he went into the pits on lap 68. And Booker went in on lap 70 for the pits and was able to come out in front of Faust. So we'll have to keep an eye out for the remaining... I can't do math right now. 18, 17, 47 laps. There we go. Took a little bit to do math. If you're sitting here next to me, you could probably see some smoke coming out from my ears. But was able to do some quick math there. Probably should have used my fingers for those. Would have been a little quicker, maybe. I don't know. But we are under caution, lap 83 of 130. As a quick reminder, the last time we drove here, the winner of the race was Tyler Vickery, and that was season 1. We were supposed to be back here last season, and we're back under green flag conditions. It looks like it's just Faust and Booker. They're going to just duke it out. We were supposed to be back here last season, but we weren't able to do it because there was no fixed setup. But we are back this year since they do have a fixed setup, and they are... It looks like it's going to be kind of like a title fight between these two drivers. Ooh, as we see Faust kind of hit the wall there. Looks like he exited turn 2 a little too hot on the gas. Both of these drivers have only entered the pit once. And it'll be interesting to keep an eye out for both of these drivers as they go onto lap 87 after they exit turn 3 and 4. And there will be lap 87 of 130. And we have Ian Miller in the broadcast booth. Hey, Ian. You got a copy?
Hey, what's up? Yep, I do.
How was driving tonight? I know kind of got into I don't know, saw your rear end kind of slip out. What would you be able to explain kind of what happened?
Yeah, I mean, I had the car set up for traffic. So, the moment I was clear, car loosened up, quite a bit, and it just felt kind of unpredictable. It was weird. It would be fine lap after lap after lap, and then just all of a sudden, one of the laps it chooses to spite you. So, and then after I came in the pits the second time, it felt like there was still damage at the rear of the car, even though everything was saying it was fine, because I just could not get the rear end to stay under me.
Oh, that's
Yeah, so I've taken too much damage. I'm done for the night. Looks like I'm still going to get the most lackluster podium. So I'll take the championship points, but certainly not the kind of performance we like putting on out here.
Yeah, it seems like a very tricky track to drive around, though. Would you be able to explain kind of like the driving line that you found and?
I didn't find any driving line to have an advantage over another, frankly. I mean, you're either able to dive in deep in the brakes and, then you've got no get up and go out of the corners, or the opposite is true, really. And so you fight with dirty air and side drafting in the middle of the corner, but you can boogie on out. There's no line that seems to be a good one. The banking is super flat, so seems to almost increase the sensitivity of the car quite a bit. Just not having there's not carrying enough speed to generate a whole lot of downforce, and the flat track certainly makes it pretty sensitive to slip in either the front end or the rear end.
Yeah, it looks like we were watching some of the close races, and it seemed really hard to just try to pass around the corners. We saw you started off in 6th place. Looks like you'll end your night in 3rd place. Where did you take advantage of like other drivers throughout the track? Was it the front and the back stretch out of the corners?
It's hard to say. I mean, I seem to mostly just get good starts. That's where I was making up positions. That's where I made positions up really all of the times, both on the start and on the restart. Seemed like my pit strategy landed in my lap a little bit, but putting me back on the lead lap in the fight for the podium, but obviously didn't end up really getting to fight for the lead.
Yeah, it was it looks like a really tough track to navigate, though, so it's good to have kind of your insights on it, especially just from watching it. It looks like you go on the outside, you maintain your speed, go on the inside, you kind of get ahead, and then the outside lane just kind of takes off on you, and you're back to where you started. So
Right.
it's good. It's good to know that it was a lot of the start and the finish, or the starts from the cautions, the green flags.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so I'll probably log off for the evening. It's lovely to have you back, even though it seems like you're not my good luck charm.
Yeah,
But,
it seems like it. But
yeah.
good job tonight. I know not the way you want it to end, but a 3rd place finish is a 3rd place finish.
Yeah. Have a lovely rest of your evening.
Thanks, you as well. And ladies and gentlemen, that was Ian Miller, who's currently sitting in 3rd place in the pits. Looks like his repairs are going to take longer than the remainder of the race, so he will be, looks like, retiring from the race tonight. He is also our points leader in the overall standings for the season. He will get some more points from tonight if he does maintain his 3rd place finish. I'm not 100% sure where else everyone is on their repairs. It looks like it's going to be a pretty tough battle between these two drivers. But there are no distractions. It's just driver to driver between the number 5 car and the number 89 car for the final 30 laps. Looking about 24 seconds per lap. So we got, give or take, like 10-15 minutes. We did have about 4 cautions throughout the race. Lap 3, 38, 71, and 80. It'll be interesting to see if any of these drivers do go in for a pit or not. I don't think so. I think they're going to go for a one pit strategy. Remember, the fuel window is between laps 63 and 68. Faust went into the pits around on lap 68, while Booker went in on lap 70. During that time, Booker was able to get around Faust and take the lead, and he's currently maintaining it. Although I will be curious at the end of the race to hear how their strategies were going into this race and how it worked out for each of these drivers. And although what will make it interesting with less cars on the road is that the track temperature isn't as high, and the marbling from the edge of the road will start coming down onto the driving track. So, because it's not being cleared by as many cars anymore. So we'll have to hop on board with, we'll probably hop on board with the number 89 car and kind of get a feel for what he's navigating through to try to catch up back up and overtake the number 5 car of Derek Booker. And looks like Foss is still taking the high line. Looks like Booker is also doing the same. So about in the 4th lane here. Pretty consistently stays in the 4th lane. The 5th lane is all debris, so definitely want to stay out of there. And Foss is about 0.8 of a second behind Booker. I'll go ahead and hop on board with Booker and see kind of how he's taking this track. We'll be curious to hear if there's any kind of strategy going into these final few laps after all the other drivers have retired due to damage. Currently, when it comes to lap times, Booker is running at a 23.2 and Foss is at 23.3 for the last lap. But they do keep trading back and forth because Booker will go up to 23.3 seconds and Foss go down to 23.2 seconds. And they've been pretty consistent going back and forth with that. But they are sitting around 23.2, 23.3 seconds. So this is going to be a pretty close race here tonight between the two drivers. It's all about who can finish better. As always, I guess, for any race. But it is driver against driver. 1v1. No more traffic to get in the way. No more distractions. We'll see who comes out on top. Got about 18 laps remaining right here at the Granite 130 at New Hampshire Motor Speedway. This is Indy Racing World Series Season 5, race number 4. We're down to our final couple laps. We're back in the teens. These drivers are getting pretty close to that wall there. It's pretty... Getting the chopper view, and maybe we can see how close they get to that exit wall. We'll follow Faust first, who led most of the first half of the race. And then Booker is currently leading and has led most of the second half of this race. We'll hop on board with Booker and kind of see how close he gets to that wall on the exit. Looks like the helicopter isn't able to keep up with these drivers and their Indy cars. I can see Booker's kind of steering pretty clear of that 4th and 5th lane, especially the 5th lane, and riding closer to that 3rd lane. Booker does have 2 laps fresher of tires compared to Faust. We'll see if Faust will have to change his strategy or try to just go for the win here and put in all his marbles. Looking about 13 laps remaining. Faust in the 5th lane, Booker in the 3rd lane. About 0.6 of a second separates these two drivers now. Now 0.8 of a second. Will Booker be able to outrun Faust? Or will Faust catch up and overtake Booker and take the win? 11 laps to go. Stay tuned right here on CMC TV. And while they are racing, got about 10 laps left. Let's pull up the standings real quickly. Oh, that's blocking the way. Never mind. No standings here. Pull up the standings after the race. I forgot that it's front and center there. My apologies. Don't want to take away from the exciting race here that we got. Looking at lap 52 of this current stint for Faust in the number 89 car, while Booker is on lap 51 of his tires and fuel. Got about 9-10 laps remaining. I think they're going to be okay. Focus on Booker there for a little bit. We'll go ahead, focus on Faust here. Sitting about 0.8 of a second behind. Final few laps, we'll start seeing some hard driving. And at this point, you're, 1 and 2 is pretty much guaranteed. So the question becomes, do you start gambling and start taking risks that you weren't willing to take at the beginning of the race and take them here right now? To give it all you got to try to catch up to the lead driver. And for the lead driver, you're driving with your eyes on the rearview mirror, making sure you're staying ahead where when your focus should be on the track in front of you and making sure you're keeping your line, you're not making any mistakes, while maintaining that speed that got you to the lead. Looking at 0.6, 0.7, now 0.8. Looks like Foss is going to try a lot of different road positions to try to catch up. I think Booker kind of figured out what Foss was doing earlier, and they were both running the high line, so I think Booker's just keeping that line, found his groove. It's going to keep it. Looking at 5 laps remaining. About a second separates the leader from second place. This is race number 4 of season 5 at New Hampshire Motor Speedway. Started off with about 7 drivers. Now we're down to about 2. I have the leader of Derek Booker in the number 5 car, and the current driver that we were watching, the number 89 car of Matthew Faust. go ahead and hop on board with Booker, who's slowly opening up the lead with 3 laps remaining. Now 2 laps remaining. Zoom out a little bit and get a little bit of a wider shot here as the white flag will be waving here. And the final lap as Booker goes around the exit of turn 2, and he enters turn 3 and will be the champion of this race here tonight. And that is the race here tonight. Our unofficial results will be posted very shortly. A massive win for Derek Booker, and just an amazing drive by both of these drivers. As we pull up the results here, so you can see Booker power slide into the checkered flat, or the checkered line area. Oh my goodness, the start finish line. It looks like he has left. Our unofficial results from this race: first place we have Derek Booker, number 5 car. Second place Matthew Faust in the number 89 car. Third place Ian Miller in the number 48 car. Fourth place in the number 66 car Greg Hammond. Fifth place Mark Fish in the number 42 car. Sixth place Erik Richardson in the number 13 car. And in 7th place, DJ Fluck in the number 88 car. We're going to drag both of these drivers into, well, not drag, but bring in both of these drivers into the broadcast booth. Let's see. Let's get them in. Good evening, drivers. I believe this is Matthew here. Yep. Awesome. Congratulations on finishing second place here tonight. It was from what it looked like a really tough course to drive. How?
Yeah. Oh, sorry.
No, go ahead. Go ahead.
Yeah. I mean, definitely a tough track. Big shout out to Derek. Race clean the entire time, even when I was in the lead. You know, he was sending a lot of stuff that I couldn't figure out how to do once I was behind him on the inside. So. Yeah, great racing to him. Glad I didn't have any wrecks or sort of misfortune this weekend, so I'll take a second place.
Yeah, you did a pretty great job leading the first half and just ran away from the pack. What was kind of your race strategy here tonight?
Yeah, I mean, once I qualified on pole, I knew clean air was going to be king, so I just wanted to keep it out front. And then coming into pit road, Derek was able to go a few more laps than me, which definitely helped him out, but once I came out of pit road, I got stuck behind lap traffic, and dirty air and cold tires just wasn't a good combo for me. So, but first half of the race felt great. It's really nice when you have clean air, open track, but unfortunately just didn't have that for the second half.
Anyone you'd like to thank for tonight's race?
I got to thank everybody for clean racing tonight, at least on my end. That's pretty much all I have to say there.
Awesome. Well, congratulations on second place and a great drive here tonight, and hope you have a great night, and see you 2 weeks from now, I believe.
Sounds good. Thank you, man. Have a good one.
Thanks, you as well. And Derek, congratulations on finishing first place here tonight. Derek, do you have a copy?
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
Awesome.
Oh,
Hey.
didn't realize I didn't realize I had my mic in my face.
No worries. How did the race feel?
For pretty much up until I got in the lead, I was begging for clean air.
It looked
That's all I
like
was
it.
doing. I honestly don't know what happened. All I know is that all I saw was my relatives just started turning blue, except for Matt. And Next thing I knew, it was only us two out there. What happened? I don't know. I'm sure I'll find out.
Oh yeah. What was your strategy going into tonight's race? Did you find like a line or like a lane that you wanted to keep throughout the race, or just wanted to get the clean air and try to get around Matthew?
Pretty much all I was trying to do was just get into clean air and not have a relapse of the last couple weeks. We'll just not wreck.
Well, you did pretty good on those two. So, anyone you'd like to thank for tonight's race?
Just want to give a shout out to everyone that came out and want to welcome you back to the booth.
Oh, thank you very much. I appreciate it. And, well, congratulations on first place finish tonight, and we'll see you on the next race.
Appreciate it. My winless streak is over. I'll take it.
That's awesome. Well, good job and congratulations. And I'll see you next week.
Appreciate it.
Yep.
All right. See you then.
And that was Derek Booker and Matthew Faust. Not in that order. And that is tonight's race here at the Granite 130. And our point standing will change a little bit based off of, oops, the wrong button there. Based off of this finish. We'll see how that changes when we have our next race. Let's take a look at our schedule real quickly before we sign off for the night. Our next race will be, it is next week. It is at Pocono. It'll be 60 laps. And it'll be another fun race. Stay tuned for that. We'll be right here on CMC TV with Green Flag at 10:15 p.m. Eastern Time. Other than that, it's good to be back in the broadcast booth. Hopefully, not too much rust for the audience to listen to me kind of come back into the broadcast booth. Appreciate you being here tonight, and we hope to see you again next week. Thank you very much, and I hope you all have a great night. And one more thing, we do have a Wednesday night dash race tomorrow. It will be at Martinville Speedway, same time, different date. Will be tomorrow. Green Flag at 10:17 p.m. Eastern Time, right here on CNC TV. So stay tuned for that, for some really fun racing there. And on that note, have a great night, and see you next week. Take care.